You're in a room full of people. It could be a party, a networking event, or just a casual hangout. You see them talking, laughing, connecting with an ease that feels like a foreign language. There's a part of you that wants to join in, to be a part of it. You know you're supposed to put yourself out there. So you take a deep breath, you walk over to a small group, and you stand there, on the edge, waiting for the perfect moment to say something clever, witty, or insightful. But the moment never comes. Your mind, which was running 1,000 miles an hour just a second ago, is now completely blank. It's like a stage with a spotlight, and the actor has forgotten every single one of his lines. The conversation flows around you, and the silence from your end feels deafening. The pressure builds. You feel your palms start to sweat. You do the only thing that feels safe. You pull out your phone, pretend to read a very important email, and slowly drift back to the safety of the wall. It's an awful feeling, isn't it? It's a unique kind of loneliness, the kind you feel when you're surrounded by people. You go home later, replaying the non-events of the night in your head, and the frustration sets in. You wonder, what is wrong with me? Why is this so hard for me when it seems so effortless for everyone else? This is one of the most common and intimidating social fears, and the first thing I want you to know is that this feeling of being awkward or having nothing to say is not a life sentence. It's not a permanent personality flaw. The problem is that you've been taught to approach conversation in a way that is almost guaranteed to create anxiety and failure. We live in a world that treats conversation like a performance. We're told we need to be charismatic, witty, and interesting. We watch characters in movies who always have the perfect comeback, the perfect story. We believe our job in a social setting is to impress people. This turns every conversation into a high-stakes job interview, and you're the one being judged. It's no wonder you're terrified. But there is a solution. A way to talk to anyone, without that crippling anxiety. It's a simple idea, but it will fundamentally change the way you interact with people forever. And here it is. Stop trying to be interesting. Start being interested. That's the magic. That's the entire secret. Think of it this way. For your entire life, you've been trying to be an actor in a play. You're constantly worried about your script. What's my next line? Did that last line sound stupid? Do they like my performance? The entire focus is on you. It's exhausting, and it's all about you. I want you to forget being an actor. From now on, I want you to be a detective. A detective doesn't walk onto a scene with a script. They have no lines to remember. Their only job is to be curious, to observe, to ask questions, to listen intently to the answers, looking for clues. Their entire focus is on the other person. They are on a mission to understand someone else's story. Now, who would you rather spend an hour talking to? The anxious actor who is constantly judging their own performance, or the calm, focused detective who is genuinely fascinated by you? The most charismatic people you know are detectives. They have a secret power. They make you feel like you are the most interesting person in the room. And they do this not by talking about their own incredible lives, but by showing a deep and genuine interest in yours. This is not magic. It's a skill. And like any skill, you can learn it. It starts with 3 simple, practical steps you can begin using today. Step 1. Find an anchor. The reason you feel so awkward is because you're trapped in your own head, listening to the constant, judgmental chatter of your inner narrator. To break free, you need to ground yourself in the present moment. You need an anchor. The next time you're talking to someone and you feel that familiar wave of anxiety, I want you to shift all of your focus to a single, tiny, external sensory detail about the other person. It could be their eye color. Notice the specific shade of blue or the little flecks of gold in their brown eyes. It could be the sound of their voice. Is it high or low? Fast or slow? It could be the pattern on their shirt. Just pick one thing and focus on it for a few seconds. This isn't some weird trick. It's a mindfulness technique. You cannot be fully focused on an external detail and, at the same time, be lost in your own anxious thoughts. Your brain can only do one of those things well. By forcing your attention outward, you are actively starving your inner critic of the oxygen it needs to survive. You're pulling yourself out of your head and into the real world, where the actual conversation is happening. Step 2. Become a clue collector. Your new goal in any conversation is not to get a good grade, but to collect clues. Your job is to uncover what makes the other person tick, what they care about, what excites them, what they're proud of. This turns a conversation from a scary performance into a fun game. This means you need to upgrade your questions. Stop asking boring, interview-style questions that lead to dead ends. For example, the most common conversation killer is, "So, what do you do?" The person gives you their job title, and then, awkward silence. A detective would never stop there. They would use that first answer as a clue to dig deeper. If they say they're a software engineer, don't just nod. Ask a discovery question, something that invites a story. What's something you're working on right now that you're excited about? Or, what's the most misunderstood thing about your job? Or even, what's the best or worst part of your day? Notice how these questions aren't about facts. They're about feelings, opinions, and stories. You're not just asking, what, you're asking, why, and how. When you become genuinely curious, you will find that people are endlessly fascinating, and you will never, ever run out of things to say. Step 3. Master the rephrase. This is the simplest and most powerful communication tool in the world. Most of us don't really listen, we just wait for our turn to talk. The rephrase forces you to actually hear what the other person is saying. It's simple. After the person has finished their thought, before you respond with your own story or opinion, take a moment and paraphrase what they just said back to them. Start with a simple phrase like, "So, it sounds like," or, "So, what you're saying is." If they just told you a long story about their frustrating commute, you could say, "Wow, so it sounds like the traffic isn't even the worst part. It's the unpredictability of it all." Two incredible things happen when you do this. First, the other person feels a profound sense of validation. They feel seen. They feel heard. This is the bedrock of all human connection, and it's a feeling so rare that they will instantly feel a bond with you. Second, it buys your brain a few precious seconds. Instead of panicking about what to say next, you've given yourself a moment to process what they said and formulate a thoughtful, relevant response. You become a better listener and a more articulate speaker at the same time. And that's the entire system. Anchor yourself in the present. Collect clues with curious questions. And make people feel heard by rephrasing what they say. Talking to people isn't some complex algorithm you have to solve. It's not about memorizing witty lines or faking a personality you don't have. It's about a simple, fundamental shift in your focus. Stop trying to be the interesting one. Just be the interested one. Get out of your own head and become a detective of the human soul. You will find that when you make it your mission to understand other people, the fear and the awkwardness just melt away. They're replaced by something far more powerful, genuine human connection. And you don't need a script for that.